All right, number 20. Solve a linear quadratic system by substitution. So again, the systems equations, there's a lot of different ways to solve those. You could do elimination, you could graph it, see where they intersect. But this is one of those SAT questions, and it wants you to solve by substitution. Some of those are free responses, so we'll follow the directions and show you how to do that. So I have y equals x squared plus 3x minus 1, and y equals x plus 2. Well, these are both equal to y. So what we're doing is I'm saying y equals this. Let's substitute that. So that will give us x plus 2 equals x squared plus 3x minus 1. So quadratic, there's that x squared. Quadratics need to be equal to 0. Right? Their solutions are those x-intercepts, and they need to be, the y's are 0 at those points. So how can we make this equal to 0? Well, there's a positive x. If I subtract x on both sides, x minus x is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. 3x minus x is 2x. And this is a positive 2. If I subtract 2, that'll give me 0. That's what I wanted. And we need to minus 2 both sides so that we can say this is equal. If you don't do it on both sides, it's not equal anymore. Now we have 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Again, you could graph that by hand if you wanted to see where the x-intercepts are. You could use the quadratic formula. Or the quickest way to do it is if you can factor it. So what times what gives me x squared? X times x. What times what gives me 3? Well, a negative 3 rather. Negative 3 times a positive 1 will give you negative 3, or a positive 3 times a negative 1. So which one am I going to go with? Well, we want them to add up to a positive 2. So I'm going to do positive 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, and 3 minus 1 is positive 2. 0 equals x minus 1 times x plus 3. If they are multiplied together, they equal 0, then we can reasonably assume that the individual pieces are going to equal 0. So I get 1 equals x, and minus 3 both sides. Negative 3 equals x. And then you go to your answer key and you say, okay, the answer is B, and you scroll down to check your answers. You say, wait a minute, why is it telling me the answer is C? Well, like I said, it's an SAT question. They're a little tricky. Have to read the directions. The system of equations above can be graphed in the xy plane. Which of the following is the y coordinate of an intersection point on the graph of the two equations? So they don't want x, they want y. That's no problem. I know what y equals. Y equals x squared plus 3x minus 1, or y equals x plus 2. You can use either equation, so save yourself the trouble and pick the one that's easier to do the math on. So we know that y equals x plus 2. So y is going to be 1 plus 2, and y is going to be negative 3 plus 2. So our y coordinate is a positive 3. So this point gives me a positive 3, and a negative 1. So this point is negative 3, negative 1. So my answer is C. Positive 3 is one of the solutions here. So be careful. Always read the directions carefully.